All right, and we're back. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, building damage experts every Saturday right here on iHeartRadio. Thanks again for joining us throughout the break. We also produce this via podcast, and so check on. I can't even talk today. So come on over to our Facebook page, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. You can see the podcast that we do and the suit challenge here with Hans Kennon with Morgan & Morgan every Tuesday when we do film it. He will have a new dapper suit on that he uses to fight for your rights here in the state of Florida. If you have a claim against your insurance company or dispute against your insurance company, he's the person to call. Hans Kennon, Morgan & Morgan. What's up?
As we talked about it originally, either in person or by Zoom. Either way, justice can be achieved.
We did mention that, and like I said, last Tuesday he comes in and just even more dressed up than what we're used to seeing him. I'm like, okay, all right. First, it wasn't
the nines, absolutely to the nines.
I mean, I didn't get the funeral vibe, so I was like, all right, so it's a little bit more upbeat than that, and but I assumed he had to go back to live court and impress a new judge.
I actually was on last Tuesday. I was in court in Seminole County. I actually drove up there and I went to that asbestos-ridden place, and every time I sit in the courtroom, it's a house it was built like in the '60s, so it's all full of asbestos. And every time you're sitting there in the courtroom waiting, and you see like these little floaters in the air, and you just sit and you go, man, that's asbestos. I bet it is.
Oh, I bet you it is.
It's just 100%.
Sticks your tongue out. It's like asbestos.
It's like the blood red carpet. I mean, it's the whole way. It's just.
Let's see
it's a little
36.
Spooky.
Yeah, that's a good 1936.
It's a little spooky there. But I did have to go to live court and go talk to the judge up there.
We have to keep Judge Bowie happy anyways. I think it's good that you did dress up, showed her, the fancy suit, and maybe you win some points that way, man. You never know.
Well, I mean, it's just respect for the robe. I mean, at the end of the day, people have lost a lot of that kind of generally. But, I was in a hearing, actually a Zoom hearing a couple weeks ago, and I was wearing a jacket and tie and all those things. And a female attorney appeared on the side, and she was just kind of wearing a shirt. I mean, like it was more blousey, but it just looked kind of undressed. And the judge we does a hearing, and he says, and he says to the lawyer, he goes, "Ma'am," and she's like, "Yeah," and he goes, "I'm an equal opportunity guy. Mr. Kennon's wearing a jacket and a tie. You wear a jacket in my courtroom. You don't show up just in a blouse." which I thought was great. I mean, you do. Sometimes you look across and they're little lax, whoever it may be.
You're representing your profession. You're representing the other attorneys as well. I mean,
you do. I mean, and I think it's important from a societal perspective too. I mean, again, when I was a little kid, I used to fly on an airplane, and we all wore a sport coat. I had a little kid who wore a sport coat on the plane because it was a big deal. Now it's like Air Greyhound, like a guy has like a live chicken sitting next to me, and I'm like, where are we going, for God's sakes, with this? But that's exactly where we're all headed. But no, I do. I think you should show respect to the institution. At the end of the day,
agreed.
It's a third of the Constitution is all about courts and judges, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're so right, and I think that makes a good impression for everybody. You don't want somebody showing up to you representing you more lax than Cheech and Chong for sure,
or looking, as my mother would have said, looking like a ragamuffin. You do not want to appear to be a ragamuffin in front of the judiciary.
No, that is true. That is true.
So this article we were talking through about the
barely got to the article. We thought that would be the focus of today, and
I know, and we're just jamming through, just kind of setting the stage for the reasons why this kind of article not only makes sense to us. The article title being "Head Scratcher: Claims Litigation Not Named as Major Factor in Florida Insolvencies," relating to the insurance market, where we're talking about the property insurance market specifically, with a fake crisis that started last January, just to kind of suffice the backing of reasons why we're going to be making these major law changes in the state of Florida. I never bought it the whole time. I mean, it's just, it was a good charade, for the mainstream media to pick up, and in an easy way for the governor to take full control, pass these crazy bills that only help the insurance companies and does nothing for consumers in the state of Florida except to put them in a worse position. But this article is saying things that we already know, of the top 9 reasons why. And not one time did it mention in the insolvencies and the factors of the major insolvencies for these Florida property insurance carriers, not one mention litigation, these unscrupulous contractors, the just
public adjusters,
the locusts that show up, try to help you with your claim. And this is the disgust that the head of the CFO, which is over Department of Financial Services, over Office of Insurance Regulation, Jimmy Petronas, that douchebag is actually going to run for governor. I'm speechless when it comes to this, because I don't think that he would have a chance. But if nobody good runs, we're going to have a problem, because this guy is just like he's a wannabe DeSantis. He's a POS. He's the owner of a family fish restaurant in Panama City. The guy knows nothing about insurance. He knows nothing about anything.
A governor's government. I mean, forget insurance for a minute. I mean, you got to run the entire state. I mean, that's not even just our area. We're talking about.
Yeah, you go from running a family-owned fish restaurant in Panama City to running the state government. No. And this douchebag, I don't know how he got it popular enough to where that, and it's because of Hurricane Michael in 2018, and him trying to be the one that's trying to put the pieces back together in his place where he's from, Panama City, blah blah blah. But I'll tell you, the crap that I've seen and I've heard this department, which is no action against the insurance companies at all, where we have over 100,000, and you don't have to believe me just from me saying it. Look it up. How many complaints have been filed against insurance companies in the state of Florida? And I'll tell you, it's been hundreds of thousands complaints against insurance companies. And let's hear it. How many against contractors?
Was it
less than 100?
Yeah, it was like 99 or 98 or something.
Less than 100 complaints against these quote-unquote scrupulous contractors that were knocking on doors, or like roofers that were going and soliciting after a major event, a hailstorm or a hurricane, say, hey, we're in this area, we're local, we'll be happy to fix your roof for you. And by the way, if you have an insurance policy, we work with all insurance companies where we bill directly to them. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. As a matter of fact, the legislators knock on doors whenever they're running for their for their candidacy and saying, "Hey, vote for me over somebody else because I'm better." I mean, here's a pen. Here's something cool. Here's a handshake. There's whatever. You know what I mean? They're giving something of value, whether it be spoken, whether it be given to them. I've seen it. I like, and they're with a straight face saying that a roofer is creating this massive insurance crisis because he's informing the insured of their rights or possibilities of billing direct to their insurance, and that it could be covered under the policy of insurance.
I mean, reality is, basically they're suggesting is that a handful, in the big scheme of things, a handful of people have basically destroyed the entire insurance market in Florida.
That's crazy to me.
It's the ability that, for all the full faith and credit of the government of Florida, everything they have, that somehow the entire insurance market has been derailed by people talking about roofing.
And again, that was just part of the scheme. I mean, we saw it since 2014. In 2013, it was the sinkhole. It was the reasons why. All the laws allowing for sinkholes to be claimed underneath there and blah, blah, blah. That's what's killing the insurance market, making rates rise. And then in 2014, after 2013 law change on sinkhole, then all of a sudden they switched the boogeyman, the finger pointing to water mitigation contractors. That's when I got involved, created a Restoration Association of Florida, got lobbying teams involved to try to thwart all this major law change. Pretty successful until 2019. And then, as you saw, there was a reform for assignment of benefit in 2019, and then more reform again every year thereafter as they slowly started chipping away consumer rights and contractor rights here in the state of Florida.
Well, I think we see with all the statutory changes is they're trying to make it where the people who are most sophisticated in the ways of insurance are the most limited in their ability to prosecute. So with the AOB, with the PA, the public adjusters, the attorneys, as well as AOB contractors, they know the system, and by taking them out of the picture, it assists the insurer in not having someone sophisticated to deal with.
Yep, silence everybody, and then they'll get their way. All right, coming up next, Construction Angels, nonprofit organization that you want to hear about. Coming up next as our guest here on Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. We'll be right back.